Imagine standing at the edge of a continent, but instead of looking out over a calm blue horizon, the ground suddenly gives up and drops away into darkness. Not a gentle slope, not a polite incline. This is a dramatic, no handrails plunge that disappears thousands of meters down, and it exists off almost every coastline on Earth. Welcome to the Continental slope, the ocean's version of "you probably shouldn't go down there," and the exact place where nature responds, "Watch me." This is the stretch of seafloor, where the ocean stops pretending to be friendly. Sunlight, which spent the shallow waters, showing off coral colours and sparkling fish, starts to fade fast, like a stage light being slowly dimmed. Within a short vertical distance, the warmth vanishes, the pressure skyrockets, and the environment becomes actively hostile to anything with fragile bones, air-filled lungs, or unrealistic expectations about comfort. In other words, humans are not invited. The slope does not care. But life, as usual, shows up anyway. The continental slope wraps around the continents like a shadowy collar, marking the transition from the familiar coastal seas to the deep ocean's endless night. It is steep, uneven, and constantly shifting. Sediment slides down its face, currents tug at its edges, and gravity is always trying to rearrange the furniture. If the shallow shelf is the ocean's living room, the slope is the staircase nobody fixed, where everything creaks ominously and occasionally falls on you. And yet, this is not a barren wasteland. It is crowded, busy, and surprisingly alive. Organisms here are not just surviving. They are specialists. They have accepted that sunlight is unreliable, meals are unpredictable, and every square inch of space comes with a crushing weight overhead. Instead of complaining, they adapted. Nature saw the difficulty slider and cranked it all the way up, and life responded by getting weird, clever, and stubborn. This is the part of the ocean where you start to realize that extreme is a relative term. Temperatures drop toward freezing, but animals carry on. Pressure increases until it feels like the ocean stacked several elephants on every square inch. But bodies adjust. Darkness becomes permanent, yet communication and hunting continue. If this were a job listing, it would read, "Low pay, high stress, eternal night, applicants welcome." And somehow, the positions are filled. What makes the continental slope so fascinating is that it is a boundary zone. It is neither shallow nor truly deep, neither bright nor completely lightless. It is a place of transition, and transitions are where evolution likes to experiment. This is where familiar forms begin to distort, where fish get lankier, eyes get larger, or vanish entirely, and behaviors shift from fast and flashy to slow and strategic. Speed becomes optional. Efficiency becomes everything. Down here, energy is precious. There is no endless supply of food drifting past like in surface waters. Meals arrive sporadically, often from above, sinking slowly through the water like forgotten crumbs. Life on the slope learns patience. It learns restraint. It learns that sprinting is a bad investment, and that waiting quietly in the dark often works better. It is less chase your dreams and more lie still and see what floats by. The slope also feels ancient. Many of its inhabitants live long lives, growing slowly in an environment that rewards caution. Time stretches differently here. A year is not measured by seasons of sunlight, but by the irregular arrival of nourishment and the steady, unchanging cold. It is a place where evolution plays the long game, crafting creatures that are built not for speed, but for endurance. And perhaps the most important thing to understand right away is that none of this is accidental. The continental slope exists because of tectonic forces, erosion, and gravity working together over millions of years. It is a product of planetary mechanics, not biological intention. Life did not design this place for itself. Life simply showed up afterward and figured it out, which might be the most impressive flex in Earth's entire history. So as we begin this journey along the continental slopes, keep one idea in mind. This is not a fringe environment filled with unlucky creatures that took a wrong turn. This is a thriving, complex region where adaptation reigns supreme and where survival looks very different from anything we see near the surface. The slope is where the ocean starts, whispering its secrets, and where life listens closely, shrugs, and moves in anyway. To understand the continental slope, you first have to imagine the ocean floor as something far more dramatic than a flat, sandy bottom. The seafloor is not a calm parking lot for fish. It is a landscape with edges, scars, collapses, and dramatic drops that would make mountain climbers feel oddly validated. The continental slope is one of the most striking of these features, acting as the steep descent that connects the relatively shallow continental shelf to the vast, deep ocean basin below. The continental shelf, which hugs the coast, is wide, gently sloping, and geologically polite. It extends outward for tens to hundreds of kilometers, staying relatively shallow and stable. But shelves cannot last forever. Gravity eventually wins, and the seafloor tips downward. That tipping point is where the continental slope begins, and it does so abruptly, like the ocean suddenly remembered it had somewhere else to be. Geologically speaking, the slope is the edge of the continent itself. It is made of continental crust, not oceanic crust, which means it is thicker, older, and composed of different materials than the deep sea floor beyond it. This matters because continental crust behaves differently under stress. It cracks, slumps, erodes, and collapses in ways that create steep gradients rather than smooth transitions. The slope exists because continents do not end neatly. They fray. The formation of the continental slope is tied to plate tectonics, erosion, and time, which together form a powerful trio that never stops remodeling the planet. Over millions of years, rivers dump enormous amounts of sediment onto the continental shelf. Sand, silt, mud, and organic debris accumulate layer by layer, slowly building outward. But as these layers pile up, they become unstable. The shelf edge cannot support infinite weight, and gravity pulls the material downslope. This is where the slope earns its reputation as a constant messmaker. Sediment does not politely stay put. It slides, slumps, and occasionally fails spectacularly. Underwater landslides, known as mass wasting events, are common here. Entire sections of sediment can suddenly give way, rushing downward in slow-motion avalanches that reshape the seafloor. Think of it as erosion, but with less weather and more existential dread. One of the most important features carved into continental slopes by these processes is the submarine canyon. These are deep, winding valleys cut into the slope, often resembling river canyons on land. Some are as large as the Grand Canyon and just as complex. They are formed by a combination of sediment flows and erosive currents that funnel material from the shelf down toward the deep ocean. These canyons act like express lanes for sediment, delivering enormous amounts of material to the abyssal plains below. What makes this particularly fascinating is that much of this shaping happens without waves, wind, or rainfall. The ocean does the work quietly. Gravity-driven flows, called turbidity currents, rush down slope when sediment becomes unstable, carrying clouds of particles that scour the seabed as they go. These currents can travel for hundreds of kilometers, rearranging the sea floor like an invisible bulldozer that works exclusively at night. Because of this constant movement, the continental slope is geologically young in behavior, even if the crust itself is ancient. Its shape is always evolving. Slopes steepen, collapse, rebuild, and shift again. This instability gives the slope its jagged profile, with terraces, ridges, scarps, and channels layered on top of one another like a half-finished construction project that no one is supervising. The angle of continental slopes varies around the world, depending on tectonic history and sediment supply. Some slopes are relatively gentle, descending gradually into the deep ocean. Others are steep and abrupt, dropping thousands of meters over short horizontal distances. Active margins, where tectonic plates collide or slide past one another, often have steeper, narrower slopes. Passive margins, which are quieter and less tectonically dramatic, tend to have broader slopes draped in thick sediment layers. Importantly, the continental slope marks the boundary between continental influence and true deep ocean conditions. Beyond it lies the continental rise, and then the abyssal plain, where sediment settles out and spreads evenly across the seafloor. The slope is the in-between zone, where materials are still in motion, still falling, still figuring out where they belong. It is the ocean's way of saying, this is not finished yet. So when we call the continental slope an underwater cliff face that never stops shedding crumbs, that is not poetic exaggeration. It is a literal description of a region shaped by gravity, built by sediment, and perpetually in the act of becoming something else. It is a place defined not by stability, but by motion, quietly funneling the continents into the deep, one grain at a time. As you move down the continental slope, the most immediate and unforgiving change is not the cold or the pressure, it is the light. Or rather, the sudden realization that light has decided it has better places to be. Sunlight does not gently fade here. It retreats with purpose, thinning out meter by meter, until even the concept of brightness feels like a rumor passed down through generations. Near the top of the slope, faint sunlight still filters through the water, but it is already weakened and scattered. Colors begin to vanish in a predictable order. Reds disappear first, followed by oranges and yellows, until everything takes on a washed-out blue-grey tone. For animals living here, color is no longer decoration. It is camouflage, signaling, or completely irrelevant. Looking flashy in low light is like wearing sunglasses indoors. Bold choice, questionable payoff. As depth increases, sunlight drops below the threshold needed for photosynthesis. This is a critical boundary because it marks the end of plant-based energy production. Algae and photosynthetic plankton cannot survive beyond this point, which means no new food is being made locally. The slope becomes a place where energy must arrive from elsewhere or be generated by entirely different means. The lights are off and the kitchen is closed. For animals, this creeping darkness reshapes everything. Vision, once a primary sense, becomes unreliable. Some species respond by enhancing it. Eyes grow larger, more sensitive, and better at detecting faint glimmers of light. These eyes are not built for detail, but for detection. They specialize in movement and contrast, capable of spotting the slightest flicker in the gloom. It is less high-definition television and more motion sensor in a haunted house. Other animals take the opposite approach and abandon vision almost entirely. Maintaining eyes is expensive, and in near total darkness, the return on investment is low. These species reduce or lose their eyes altogether, redirecting energy toward other senses. Touch, vibration detection, and chemical sensing take center stage. In the dark, smell becomes a map, and water movements tell stories about what just passed by and whether it might be edible. This sensory shift changes behavior in profound ways. Animals on the slope move differently than their shallow water relatives. They are slower, more deliberate, and less inclined to waste energy on unnecessary motion. In a place where light cannot guide you, every movement must be justified. Swimming becomes purposeful rather than playful. Stillness is not laziness, it is strategy. Then there is bioluminescence, the deep ocean's most dramatic response to darkness. When sunlight disappears, some animals bring their own lighting. Through chemical reactions within specialized cells, they produce light in controlled flashes, glows, or pulses. This is not random sparkle. Bioluminescence is a tool, and it is used with intention. Some species use light as a lure, dangling glowing appendages or emitting soft glows that attract curious prey. In the dark, any light source becomes a point of interest, and interest can be fatal. Other animals use bioluminescence defensively, releasing sudden flashes to startle predators or create confusion. A burst of light can momentarily blind an attacker, buying precious seconds to escape. Think of it as underwater flash photography, with consequences. Communication is another major role of bioluminescence. In a world without daylight, visual signals must be self-generated. Patterns of flashes can convey species identity, readiness to mate, or territorial warnings. Each species develops its own light signature, like a glowing accent that says, "I am not food, I am a potential partner," which is a very important distinction to make quickly. Interestingly, the color of bioluminescent light is usually blue or green. These wavelengths travel farthest through seawater, making them the most efficient choice in a light-starved environment. Red bioluminescence does exist, but it is rare and specialized. Producing red light in the deep sea is like whispering a secret in a room where almost no one can hear it. When it appears, it is usually because someone wants to see without being seen. The loss of sunlight also influences body coloration. Many slope-dwelling animals are red, black, or transparent. Red appears black in deep water, making it an excellent form of invisibility. Transparency allows animals to blend into the water itself, erasing outlines that might otherwise give them away. In darkness, the goal is not beauty, it is disappearance. Perhaps the most remarkable thing about light loss along the slope is how quickly it reshapes life. Over relatively short vertical distances, entire sensory worlds change. Evolution responds not with a single solution, but with a spectrum of adaptations, each one tuned to a specific depth and light level. The slope becomes a gradient not just of darkness, but of strategies for dealing with it. By the time sunlight is fully gone, the rules of interaction have changed completely. Sight is optional. Light is intentional. Darkness is not an obstacle but a resource, something to be used, manipulated, and exploited. Photosynthesis may have packed its bags early, but life did not throw a tantrum. It flipped a chemical switch, turned on its own lights, and started the party anyway. As you descend along the continental slope, The environment does not just get darker, it gets colder and heavier in a way that is difficult to explain without sounding dramatic. So let us lean into it. Every 10 meters you go down, the pressure increases by about 1 atmosphere. That is the same pressure you feel at sea level, added again and again, stacking up like an invisible pile of weights. By the time you are deep on the slope, the ocean is applying thousands of pounds of force to every square inch. Humans do not experience this. Humans get crushed by this. Temperature follows a similarly unforgiving trend. Surface waters are warmed by the sun, stirred by winds, and constantly mixed. Along the slope, that warmth drains away. Temperatures drop toward just a few degrees above freezing and stay there. There are no seasonal swings, no sunny afternoons, no heat waves. Cold becomes permanent, like a bad roommate who never moves out. For life, this combination of high pressure and low temperature is not a temporary inconvenience. It is the default setting. Organisms living here are not resisting these conditions. They are built for them. Their bodies, down to the molecular level, function differently than anything evolved for shallow water or land. Pressure is the bigger challenge. High pressure affects how proteins fold, how enzymes function, and how cell membranes behave. In most animals, these systems would fail as pressure increases, causing cells to malfunction and tissues to collapse. Deep living organisms avoid this fate by tweaking the chemistry of life itself. Their proteins are structured to remain stable under compression, and their enzymes continue working efficiently even when squeezed from all sides. Cell membranes are another key adaptation. At high pressure and low temperature, membranes tend to become rigid, which would interfere with transport and communication between cells. Slope-dwelling organisms adjust the composition of fats in their membranes, keeping them flexible and functional. It is like switching out winter tires for pressure-rated ones, except at a microscopic level and with significantly higher stakes. Body structure also plays a role. Many animals along the slope lack large air-filled spaces. Gas compresses under pressure, and any trapped air would be a liability. Instead, bodies are often gelatinous or fluid-filled, allowing pressure to be evenly distributed. This means there is nothing to crush, because there is nothing resisting the force. From a physics standpoint, it is elegant. From a human aesthetic standpoint, it can be unsettling. Bones, when present, are often lighter and less rigid than those of shallow water animals. Heavy, calcified skeletons are expensive to build and unnecessary when buoyancy is less important than pressure tolerance. Some fish replace dense bone with cartilage or reduced skeletal structures, resulting in bodies that look fragile but are perfectly suited to their environment. Down here, durability does not mean hardness. It means flexibility. Cold temperatures add another layer of difficulty. Chemical reactions slow down as temperatures drop, which can reduce metabolic rates and overall activity. Rather than fighting this, slope organisms lean into it. Many have slower metabolisms requiring less energy to survive. Movements are deliberate. Growth is gradual. Life unfolds at a pace that matches the environment, not the clock. This slow pace has cascading effects on physiology. Muscles are adapted for endurance rather than speed. Energy storage becomes critical, with fats and other reserves used carefully over long periods. Reproduction, when it happens, is often spaced out, reflecting the reality that energy must be budgeted with extreme caution. This is not a place for reckless spending. One fascinating adaptation involves molecules called piezolites. which help stabilize proteins under pressure. These compounds are present in the cells of many deep living organisms and act like molecular shock absorbers. They prevent pressure from disrupting biological processes, allowing life to function normally in conditions that would otherwise cause cellular chaos. Humans do not make piezolites, which is one of several reasons we do not belong here. Another consequence of pressure is its effect on buoyancy. Gas bladders, common in shallow water fish, become problematic at depth because gas compresses dramatically. Many slope fish either modify these structures or abandon them entirely, relying instead on body composition to maintain position in the water. Neutral buoyancy becomes a matter of chemistry rather than trapped air, which is far more reliable when the ocean is actively trying to squeeze you into a different shape. What is most striking is that none of these adaptations are about heroically resisting the environment. There is no biological arm wrestling match with the ocean. Instead, life along the continental slope cooperates with the conditions. It builds bodies that yield rather than break, chemistry that thrives under pressure, and lifestyles that respect the limits imposed by cold and depth. To a human, these depths represent danger, darkness, and crushing force. To the organisms that live here, it is simply home. They are not enduring the pressure. They are shaped by it, defined by it, and quietly thriving beneath a weight that would flatten us into a cautionary tale long before we ever finished saying the word submarine. If life along the continental slope had a universal calendar, it would not be divided into days or seasons. It would be marked by arrivals. Food does not grow here, hunt itself, or reliably show up on schedule. Instead, nourishment drifts down from above, piece by piece, in a process so slow and steady it barely feels like movement at all. This rain of organic material is known as marine snow, and it is the primary reason anything can survive on the slope, without developing severe trust issues. Marine snow is not snow in the frozen sense. It is a continuous fall of microscopic debris made up of dead plankton, fecal pellets, mucus, shed tissue, and other organic leftovers from surface waters. Every living thing near the sunlit ocean is contributing to it, whether intentionally or not. When those materials clump together, they become heavy enough to sink, beginning a long descent toward the depths. It is the ocean's way of recycling, with gravity doing most of the work. As marine snow drifts downward, it passes through different layers of the water column, changing as it goes. Bacteria colonize the particles, breaking them down and altering their nutritional value. Tiny animals graze on it mid-descent, nibbling away before passing the remains farther down. By the time marine snow reaches the continental slope, it is smaller, more processed, and more precious than it was at the surface. Nothing here takes crumbs for granted. The slope's angled terrain plays a major role in how this material is delivered. Unlike flat, abyssal plains, the slope intercepts falling debris, allowing it to accumulate on ledges, terraces, and gentle inclines. This creates patchy food availability, with some areas receiving steady deposits and others experiencing long dry spells. Life organizes itself accordingly, clustering where the buffet seems most reliable. Currents along the continental slope add another layer of complexity. These are not the powerful surface currents that drive global circulation, but slower, denser flows that creep along the seafloor. They can transport marine snow sideways, redistributing nutrients and concentrating them in unexpected places. A gentle current can turn a barren patch of sediment into a thriving feeding ground simply by redirecting the rain. Some currents are driven by differences in water density, created by temperature and salinity variations. Others result from the shape of the seafloor itself. as water moves around ridges and through channels. These bottom-hugging flows shape how organic material spreads, creating invisible highways of food that only the locals seem to know about. To an outside observer, it looks random. To the organisms living there, it is a predictable pattern learned over evolutionary time. Because food arrives slowly and unpredictably, many slope-dwelling organisms have feeding strategies built around patience rather than pursuit. Instead of chasing prey, they position themselves where marine snow is likely to accumulate and wait. Feathery appendages, sticky surfaces, and wide mouths become tools for intercepting particles drifting past. Dinner does not run, it floats. The slow pace of this food delivery has important consequences. Meals are small but frequent, favoring organisms that can extract energy efficiently from low-quality material. Digestive systems are often adapted to process large volumes of sediment or detritus, separating usable nutrients from indigestible leftovers. It is less fine dining and more all you can filter, but it works. Occasionally, the slope receives a bonus. Larger organic falls, such as dead fish or plant matter, washed out from coastal regions, can tumble down the slope and land in deeper waters. These events are rare but significant, creating temporary hotspots of activity as organisms converge to take advantage of the sudden abundance. These moments do not last long, but they leave lasting impacts on growth and reproduction for those lucky enough to be nearby. Importantly, marine snow also fuels microbial communities. Bacteria and other microorganisms play a crucial role in breaking down organic matter and releasing nutrients back into the ecosystem. They form the base of many food webs along the slope, supporting larger organisms either directly or indirectly. Without microbes, marine snow would pile up uselessly. With them, it becomes energy. The beauty of this system is its quiet efficiency. No hunting grounds, no chases, no dramatic ambushes. Just a steady drizzle of resources, shaped by currents and terrain, feeding an entire ecosystem that has learned to live within tight energy limits. It is a reminder that not all abundance is loud, and not all ecosystems rely on speed or spectacle. Marine snow may sound unglamorous, but along the continental slope, it is everything. It is the connection between the sunlit surface and the dark depths, the reason life can exist where light does not. In a place where chasing dinner would be a waste of energy, the ocean provides a better option. Just wait, and eventually something will fall into your mouth. When most people hear the word coral, they picture sunlit reefs, neon fish, and vacation brochures doing their best impression of paradise. Deep-sea corals would like a word, mostly to say, "We are nothing like that, and we are doing just fine." Along the continental slope, corals and sponges form sprawling, complex communities in total darkness, quietly constructing ecosystems that last for centuries without ever seeing the sun or rushing a single decision. These organisms are not plants, despite their tree-like shapes and stationary lifestyles. They are animals, and surprisingly tough ones. Deep-sea corals anchor themselves to hard surfaces along the slope, such as exposed rock or consolidated sediment, where currents can deliver a steady supply of food particles. Their branching forms are not decorative. They are functional, increasing surface area to capture passing nutrients from the water. Every twig-like extension is a carefully placed net in a moving stream. Growth here is slow, painfully slow. Some deep-sea corals add only millimeters per year, meaning large colonies can be hundreds or even thousands of years old. These are not fast builders. They are patient architects, laying down skeletal structures over timescales that make human construction projects look impulsive. If you are wondering how long it takes to build a coral city on the slope, the answer is longer than recorded human history, and definitely longer than your phone battery lasts in airplane mode. Sponges are equally impressive, though they take a different approach. Rather than building rigid skeletons, many deep-sea sponges form intricate frameworks made of silica or flexible protein fibers. These structures act as living filtration systems, pumping vast amounts of water through their bodies to extract tiny food particles. A single sponge can process thousands of liters of water each day, quietly cleaning and feeding without ever moving an inch. It is multitasking at a level that makes modern productivity apps feel unnecessary. Together, corals and sponges create what are known as habitat-forming communities. Their physical structures provide shelter, attachment points, and hiding spaces for a wide range of other organisms. Fish rest among coral branches, invertebrates cling to sponge surfaces, tiny creatures hide within crevices that did not exist before these animals arrived. In an environment where flat, featureless sediment dominates, complexity is a luxury, and corals and sponges provide it. These communities are often referred to as gardens, which sounds gentle until you realize they are built in conditions of crushing pressure, cold water, and near total darkness. There is no photosynthesis powering their growth. Instead, they rely entirely on capturing organic particles from the water. Their feeding structures are tuned to the local flow conditions, with shapes that reflect the direction and strength of currents over decades. They are literally molded by the movement of water. Longevity is one of their most remarkable traits. Some deep-sea corals have been dated to ages far exceeding the lifespan of most vertebrates. They witness environmental changes that unfold over centuries, recording them in their skeletons like biological time capsules. Each layer tells a story of past conditions, quietly archiving ocean history while the rest of the world rushes past. This slow growth, however, comes with a downside. Damage is not easily repaired. When a coral colony or sponge garden is destroyed, whether by natural events or human activity, recovery can take centuries, if it happens at all. These are not ecosystems that bounce back quickly. They are built on stability, consistency, and time. Remove the structure, and the entire community that depends on it disappears with alarming speed. Despite their fragile appearance, these animals are masters of survival through persistence. They do not compete through speed or aggression. They win by staying put, outlasting disturbances and quietly shaping their surroundings. Their presence transforms sections of the continental slope from empty stretches into bustling neighborhoods, complete with residents, visitors, and long-term tenants. There is something humbling about organisms that measure success in centuries rather than moments. Deep-sea corals and sponges remind us that complexity does not require sunlight, urgency, or constant change. Sometimes it requires the opposite: a stable spot, a steady current, and the patience to grow a city one microscopic layer at a time, even if your progress bar has been buffering since before humans figured out how to make fire. If shallow water fish are marathon swimmers built for speed, fish of the continental slope are long-distance commuters who have mastered the art of doing as little as possible without actually dying. These are not animals that chase prey across open water or dart between coral heads in flashy bursts. Along the slope, energy is currency, and wasting it on unnecessary movement is the fastest way to go bankrupt. One of the most iconic slope fish is the grenadier, also known as the rat tail. It has a large head, oversized eyes, and a body that tapers into a long, whip-like tail. At first glance, it looks like a fish that forgot to finish rendering, but every aspect of that design serves a purpose. The large head houses sensory systems and a mouth capable of capturing whatever food happens to wander close enough, while the narrow tail reduces muscle mass and energy demand. Less muscle means lower maintenance costs, and in the deep sea, that is a win. Slickheads, another common group along the slope, take minimalism even further. As their name suggests, they lack scales, giving them a smooth, almost gelatinous appearance. Scales are heavy and expensive to produce, and in an environment where armor is less useful than efficiency, slickheads opt out entirely. Their bodies are lightweight, soft, and perfectly suited to hovering just above the seafloor, waiting for opportunities rather than creating them. These fish tend to swim slowly, often using gentle undulations rather than powerful strokes. Quick bursts of speed are rare and reserved for critical moments. The rest of the time, movement is economical and controlled. Imagine driving everywhere in the lowest possible gear to save fuel. Except your fuel budget determines whether you live another year. Their muscles reflect this lifestyle. Instead of being packed with fast twitch fibers designed for rapid acceleration, slope fish rely more heavily on slow twitch fibers that are efficient over long periods. This allows them to maintain posture and subtle motion without burning through energy reserves. They are built for endurance, not heroics. Feeding strategies also favor efficiency. Many slope fish have large mouths relative to their body size, allowing them to consume a wide variety of prey without being picky. When food is unpredictable, specialization is risky. Being able to eat whatever shows up, whether it is a small invertebrate or a chunk of organic debris, increases survival odds. In this environment, culinary standards are flexible. Some slope fish are opportunistic predators, while others are scavengers, and many fall somewhere in between. The lines blur when chasing prey is expensive and meals are rare. If something edible appears, the correct response is not to question its origin. It is to eat it before it leaves. Buoyancy is another critical consideration. Without relying on gas-filled structures, slope fish often use body composition to maintain neutral buoyancy. High water content, low-density tissues, and specialized compounds help them remain suspended with minimal effort. Floating, in this context, is not laziness. It is strategic conservation. Sensory adaptations complement this low-energy approach. Many slope fish rely on enhanced lateral line systems to detect vibrations and pressure changes in the water. This allows them to sense nearby movement without actively searching. Smell also plays a major role, guiding fish toward food sources from a distance. Vision, while still useful, is tuned for sensitivity rather than clarity. The goal is detection, not detail. Reproduction among slope fish often reflects the same energy-conscious philosophy. Many species produce relatively few offspring compared to shallow water fish, investing more resources into each one. This reduces the need for frequent reproduction in an environment where energy is limited and survival is uncertain. It is a slower, more cautious approach to population maintenance. What stands out most about these fish is how perfectly they embody the logic of their environment. They are not slow because they are weak. They are slow because speed is unnecessary. They are not small or soft because they are fragile. They are shaped that way because efficiency outperforms strength when resources are scarce. In the deep sea, there are no medals for fastest swimmer. There is only survival. And along the continental slope, fish like grenadiers and slickheads have mastered a simple truth. If you can float, wait, and eat when the opportunity arises, sprinting is not just overrated, it is a terrible life choice. Along the Continental slope, not every predator looks like a streamlined hunter with sharp teeth and a permanent scowl. Some of the most effective hunters here are invertebrates, animals without backbones that have replaced brute force with planning, flexibility, and an unsettling level of calm. If fish are conserving energy by slowing down, invertebrate predators take it a step further by turning patience into an art form. Deep-sea octopuses are a prime example. Unlike their shallow water relatives that dart between rocks and coral, slope-dwelling octopuses adopt a quieter lifestyle. Their bodies are soft, flexible, and capable of changing shape to match the terrain. Instead of chasing prey across open water, they blend into the seafloor, becoming part of the landscape. In the dim environment of the slope, this camouflage is not flashy. It is subtle, muted, and disturbingly effective. An octopus does not need to be fast when it can wait. It positions itself near likely travel routes or areas where prey may shelter, then remains still for long periods. When the moment comes, the attack is quick, precise, and over almost immediately. Arms wrap, suckers grip, and the prey has very little time to process what just happened. It is ambush hunting refined to perfection. Octopus intelligence plays a key role in this strategy. Their nervous systems are highly developed, allowing for complex problem solving and learning. On the slope, this translates into adaptable hunting behavior. An octopus can explore its surroundings, remember where food was previously found, and adjust its approach accordingly. In a place where meals are not guaranteed, memory becomes as valuable as muscle. Starfish, or sea stars, approach predation from an entirely different angle. They are not fast, stealthy, or particularly intimidating at first glance, yet they are surprisingly effective hunters. Many deep-sea starfish feed on sessile or slow-moving organisms, such as mollusks or other invertebrates. Their strategy is simple: find food, engulf it, and let chemistry do the rest. A starfish does not rush. It moves slowly across the seafloor, guided by chemical cues that indicate the presence of prey. Once it reaches a target, it uses its tube feet to grip and manipulate. In some cases, it can avert its stomach, extending it outside the body to digest prey externally. This allows the starfish to consume animals larger than its own mouth opening, which feels like cheating, but is entirely legal in the deep sea. This method of feeding is energy efficient and effective. Instead of breaking shells or overpowering prey, the starfish relies on enzymes to soften and digest tissues over time. The process is slow, but speed is not the goal. Certainty is. Once a starfish commits to a meal, escape becomes increasingly unlikely for the prey. Other invertebrate predators along the slope use variations of these themes. Some rely on sticky surfaces to trap passing organisms. Others use long, extendable appendages to reach into crevices or across sediment. Many have sensory structures tuned to detect subtle chemical or mechanical signals, allowing them to locate prey without direct contact. In darkness, information travels through touch and chemistry rather than sight. What unites these predators is their shared rejection of high-speed pursuit. Chasing prey across the slope would require bursts of energy that are difficult to replace. Instead, these animals design their lives around minimizing effort and maximizing success rates. Every movement is intentional. Every hunt is calculated. Their body plans reflect this philosophy. Flexibility allows them to conform to uneven terrain. Regenerative abilities particularly in starfish, provide insurance against injury. Losing an arm is not catastrophic when it can be regrown. This reduces the cost of occasional mistakes, making risk-taking more tolerable when necessary. These predators also play an important role in shaping slope ecosystems. By controlling populations of other invertebrates, they influence community structure and resource distribution. Their presence keeps certain species in check, preventing any one group from dominating limited food sources. Even in the deep sea, balance matters. There is something almost poetic about predation that unfolds at this pace. No dramatic chases, no sudden explosions of motion, just slow movement, careful positioning, and inevitable outcomes. Invertebrate predators along the continental slope remind us that intelligence and strategy are not limited to animals with spines. Sometimes the most effective hunters are the ones who look like they are doing absolutely nothing, right up until the moment it is far too late. Life along the continental slope runs on a simple principle. If something edible appears, someone will find it, and then everyone else will show up shortly after. Scavengers are the cleanup crew of this environment, and they are extremely good at their jobs. In a place where food is scarce and unpredictable, leaving calories unclaimed would be an unforgivable mistake. Crabs are among the most recognizable scavengers on the slope. These are not the colorful shoreline crabs that skitter sideways for dramatic effect. Deep-living crabs tend to be pale, slow-moving, and built like armored tanks. Their hard exoskeletons protect them from rough terrain and the occasional disagreement over food, while their strong claws are perfectly suited for tearing apart whatever organic material they encounter. Crabs patrol the seafloor methodically, using chemical cues to locate food from surprising distances. The smell of decay travels well in water, and crabs are excellent at following that trail. Once they arrive, competition can be intense. Individuals jostle for position, wave claws defensively, and establish temporary hierarchies around a resource. It is not elegant, but it is efficient. Amphipods take scavenging to a different level. These small, shrimp-like crustaceans may look insignificant, but in large numbers, they are unstoppable. Amphipods are often the first to arrive at newly fallen organic material, swarming over it in dense, writhing masses. Their size allows them to exploit tiny crevices and soft tissues that larger scavengers cannot access. Think of them as the fine detail specialists of decomposition. Their life strategy is built around rapid exploitation. Amphipods grow quickly, reproduce efficiently, and are capable of dramatic population booms when food becomes available. When a large carcass appears, they descend in numbers that can seem unreal, reducing massive amounts of tissue to fragments in a matter of days. If you ever wondered how something as large as a whale can disappear on the seafloor, the answer is teamwork and zero hesitation. A whale fall is the ultimate scavenger event on the continental slope. When a whale dies and sinks, it delivers a sudden, enormous package of nutrients to the deep. For scavengers, this is the equivalent of a once-in-a-lifetime feast. Crabs, amphipods, and other opportunistic species converge from surrounding areas, drawn by chemical signals that travel far through the water. The initial stage of a whale fall is dominated by mobile scavengers. Soft tissues are stripped away rapidly, often within months. Amphipods infiltrate every available space, while crabs focus on larger chunks. This frenzy is loud in its own quiet way, a flurry of movement in an environment that is usually defined by stillness. As the easy meals are consumed, the carcass enters a new phase. Bones remain, rich in fats and nutrients. Different scavengers and specialized organisms take over, continuing the recycling process. Over time, even the skeleton is broken down and integrated into the surrounding ecosystem, Nothing is wasted. Every molecule finds a new purpose. Outside of these dramatic events, scavengers maintain a constant presence on the slope. They process smaller food falls, dead animals, and discarded material that reaches the seafloor. By breaking down organic matter, they release nutrients back into the environment, making them available to other organisms. They are not just consumers, they are recyclers, essential to the flow of energy through the system. Their bodies reflect this role. Strong jaws, efficient digestive systems, and hardy exoskeletons allow them to handle a wide range of food types, including tough or decaying material. Many scavengers can tolerate conditions that would deter other animals, such as low oxygen or high concentrations of decomposition byproducts. They show up when others cannot. Scavengers also shape behavior in other species. The knowledge that a carcass will attract a crowd influences where animals die, hide, or feed. Predators may avoid certain areas after feeding to reduce the risk of attracting scavengers that could become competitors or threats. Even in the deep sea, actions have consequences. What makes scavengers so important is not their individual charisma, but their collective impact. They ensure that energy continues to circulate, that nutrients do not become locked away in unusable forms. Without them, the slope would accumulate waste, and life would slow to a crawl. So when something dies along the continental slope, it does not mark an end. It marks a beginning. A signal goes out, the cleanup crew mobilizes, and the ecosystem gets to work. In the deep sea, decay is not failure. It is a feast, a process, and occasionally the biggest party the neighborhood will see for decades. In a world where sunlight never arrives, light becomes a deliberate act. Along the continental slope, bioluminescence is not background decoration or random sparkle. It is communication, deception, and survival, wrapped into a controlled flash. Every glow has a reason, and wasting light is almost as bad as wasting energy. One of the most famous uses of bioluminescence is luring prey, and it is as devious as it sounds. Certain fish and invertebrates produce small, glowing points near their mouths or appendages, mimicking the appearance of edible particles or tiny organisms. In the darkness, curiosity is dangerous. A drifting glow draws attention, and attention brings prey close enough for a quick capture. The trick works because in a light-starved environment, any illumination feels like an opportunity. This strategy requires precision. The light must be bright enough to be noticed, but subtle enough not to attract unwanted attention from larger predators. Many species can adjust the intensity, duration, and timing of their glow, turning it on only when conditions are right. Think of it as selective advertising. You want customers, not inspectors. Confusing predators is another common application. Sudden flashes of light can disorient attackers, creating a momentary sensory overload. Some species release clouds of glowing particles when threatened, producing a shimmering distraction that allows them to escape while their predator is busy processing the unexpected light show. It is the underwater equivalent of throwing glitter in someone's face and running away while they rethink their life choices. There is also counter-illumination, one of the cleverest uses of bioluminescence. Some animals produce light on their undersides to match the faint glow coming from above. This makes them harder to see from below, effectively erasing their silhouette against the dim background. It is camouflage by subtraction, using light not to be seen, but to disappear. The precision required for this is remarkable, as the animal must constantly adjust its brightness to match changing conditions. Beyond hunting and defense, bioluminescence plays a critical role in communication, particularly when it comes to reproduction. In the absence of daylight, visual signals must be self-generated. Many species use species-specific light patterns to identify potential mates. These patterns can involve rhythmic flashes, pulsing glows, or unique arrangements of light-producing organs. It is not enough to glow. You have to glow correctly. This system reduces the risk of mismatched encounters in an environment where mistakes can be costly. A wrong signal might attract a predator instead of a partner. As a result, bioluminescent courtship displays tend to be highly specific and carefully controlled. Romance in the deep sea is subtle, strategic, and absolutely unforgiving of errors. Producing light is not free. Bioluminescence requires energy, and energy is limited along the slope. This means organisms must balance the benefits of glowing against the costs. Many species restrict their light use to critical moments, storing the necessary chemicals until needed. Others have evolved highly efficient systems that minimize energy loss. No one here is leaving the lights on by accident. Control is key. Some animals can activate individual light organs independently, creating complex patterns or directional signals. Others synchronize their glow with movement, enhancing the effect. The ability to turn light on and off instantly allows for rapid responses to changing situations, whether that means attracting prey, signaling a mate, or avoiding becoming a meal. Interestingly, not all bioluminescence is obvious. Some species produce extremely faint light, visible only to organisms with highly sensitive vision. This creates private communication channels that go unnoticed by most predators. It is the deep sea version of whispering in a crowded room, except the room is pitch black and everyone is armed. Bioluminescence also shapes behavior and positioning within the ecosystem. Animals that rely heavily on light signals tend to occupy specific depths or microhabitats where their signals are most effective. Over time, this leads to a subtle layering of species based on how and when they use light. The darkness is not uniform. It is structured by flashes, glows, and silences. What makes bioluminescence along the continental slope so fascinating is its versatility. The same basic ability, producing light, is repurposed again and again for different challenges. It is a reminder that evolution favors tools that can be adapted, not just invented. In a place defined by crushing pressure and endless night, light becomes language. It lies, seduces, warns, and vanishes on command. And even at depths, where survival is already complicated, the simple act of finding the right partner still requires impeccable timing, perfect signals, and the courage to glow first. If the continental slope had a credits roll, microbial life would be listed under executive producer, director, and entire support staff, while the larger animals would be smiling on camera, pretending they did all the work. Bacteria and other microorganisms are the unseen foundation of this ecosystem, running chemical processes so quietly and efficiently that most of life above them never notices. Which is fitting, because microbes have been doing this long before anything photogenic showed up. Along the continental slope, microbes exist everywhere. They live in the water column, within sediments, on rocks, and coating organic debris. They colonize anything that offers even a hint of usable energy. While fish and invertebrates wait for food to arrive, microbes get to work immediately, breaking down material at the molecular level. They do not hunt, chase, or ambush. They dismantle. Bacteria mats are one of the most visible signs of microbial dominance. These mats form when bacterial populations grow densely on the seafloor, often appearing as pale, fuzzy, or slimy layers spread across sediment or hard surfaces. They may not look impressive, but they represent intense biological activity. Each mat is a living factory, processing chemicals and converting them into forms that other organisms can use. What makes these microbes so important is their metabolic flexibility. Unlike animals, which rely on consuming organic material, many bacteria can extract energy directly from chemical compounds in their environment. They can oxidize substances like methane, hydrogen sulfide, or ammonia, using chemical reactions to fuel growth. This ability allows microbial communities to thrive in places where traditional food sources are scarce or absent. Even when organic debris arrives from above, microbes are the first to respond. They swarm particles of marine snow, secreting enzymes that break complex molecules into simpler ones. This process releases nutrients back into the surrounding environment, making them available to other organisms. Without microbes, much of the energy arriving at the slope would remain locked away, unusable to larger life forms. Microbes also influence sediment chemistry in profound ways. As they break down organic matter, they alter oxygen levels and chemical gradients within the seafloor. This creates distinct layers of microbial activity, each dominated by organisms adapted to specific conditions. Some bacteria thrive in oxygen-rich zones, while others specialize in low oxygen or oxygen-free environments. Together, they form a vertical assembly line of decomposition. These processes shape which animals can live where. Areas with active microbial communities often support higher densities of invertebrates that feed on bacteria directly or benefit from the nutrients they release. In this way, microbes indirectly structure the distribution of larger life along the slope. They are not just background noise, they are environmental engineers. One of the most remarkable aspects of microbial life is its resilience. Bacteria can survive extreme pressure, low temperatures, and long periods of limited resources. Many enter dormant states when conditions are unfavorable, reactivating when energy becomes available. This persistence ensures that the ecosystem can respond quickly to change, whether that change comes in the form of a food fall or a shift in chemical conditions. Microbial communities also act as stabilizers. By continuously recycling nutrients, they prevent waste from accumulating and help maintain chemical balance in the environment. This is especially important in deep-sea settings, where physical mixing is limited and changes can persist for long periods. Microbes keep things moving, even when everything else appears still. Despite their importance, microbes rarely get credit. They do not glow, hunt, or build visible structures that catch the eye. Their work is invisible, their success measured in molecules transformed rather than dramatic events. Yet without them, the continental slope would be a very different place. Food webs would collapse, nutrients would stagnate, and life would struggle to persist. There is a certain irony in this. The smallest organisms wield the greatest influence, while the largest receive the most attention. Microbes do not care. They will continue metabolizing, decomposing, and recycling regardless of who is watching. They are not performing, they are maintaining. So while documentaries pan across elegant fish and alien-looking invertebrates, it is worth remembering that beneath every scene is a microbial workforce keeping the system alive. They are the quiet rulers of the continental slope, running the ecosystem with no fanfare, no spotlight, and absolutely no interest in their close-up. If sunlight is usually the opening act for life on Earth, chemosynthesis is what happens when the headliner never shows up and the ecosystem decides to continue the concert anyway. Along parts of the continental slope, methane seeps and hydrothermal vents create pockets of intense chemical activity where life runs on energy pulled directly from the planet itself. No sun, no photosynthesis, no problem. Methane seeps occur where hydrocarbons leak slowly out of the seafloor, often along fault lines or areas where sediment is under pressure. Methane, hydrogen sulfide, and other chemicals escape into the surrounding water, creating localized zones rich in chemical energy. To most animals, these compounds are useless or toxic. To certain microbes, they are fuel. Chemosynthetic bacteria form the foundation of these communities. Instead of using sunlight to power sugar production, they use chemical reactions. By oxidizing methane or hydrogen sulfide, these microbes convert inorganic compounds into organic matter. In other words, they manufacture food from chemicals leaking out of the earth, effectively creating an independent energy economy disconnected from the surface. These bacterial populations often form dense colonies around seep sites, coating rocks, sediments, and even other organisms. Their growth can be so prolific that it changes the appearance of the seafloor, creating pale or shimmering patches that stand out against darker surroundings. Where these bacteria thrive, larger life follows. Many animals living near seeps and vents form close partnerships with chemosynthetic microbes. Some host bacteria within their tissues, providing a protected environment in exchange for a steady supply of nutrients. This relationship is so tight that the animal's survival depends entirely on its microbial residence. They are less individuals and more walking, crawling, or sitting ecosystems. Other species graze directly on bacterial mats, harvesting the microbial biomass as food. These grazers often show specialized mouthparts or feeding behaviors adapted to scraping, filtering, or absorbing bacteria. In these communities, bacteria are not just producers, they are prey. The physical environment around seeps and vents is dynamic and unpredictable. Chemical concentrations can fluctuate, flows can shift, and new seep sites can appear while others fade. Life here must be adaptable, capable of responding to changing conditions without relying on stable inputs. Flexibility is not optional, it is survival. One of the most striking aspects of chemosynthetic communities is how sharply they contrast with surrounding areas. Step just a short distance away from a seep, and the dense biological activity fades. Food becomes scarce, and the ecosystem returns to its slower, more dispersed rhythm. These sites are biological oases, small but incredibly productive. Chemosynthesis also challenges long-held assumptions about where life can exist. Before these systems were discovered, it was widely believed that all ecosystems ultimately depended on sunlight. Seeps and vents shattered that idea. Here was life flourishing in total darkness, powered by geology rather than astronomy. It forced a fundamental re-evaluation of what habitable means. The implications extend beyond Earth. If life can thrive using chemical energy from rock and water interactions, then similar environments on other planets or moons could also support life. Chemosynthetic ecosystems along continental slopes provide real-world examples of biology untethered from starlight, expanding the imagination of astrobiology in very practical ways. Despite their productivity, these communities are not permanent. Seeps can shut down, vents can cool, and chemical flows can be redirected. When this happens, the ecosystem must either move, adapt, or disappear. Some species are highly specialized and vanish when conditions change. Others are more flexible, able to transition back to detritus-based food webs. This impermanence adds urgency to life here. There is no guarantee that today's chemical feast will exist tomorrow. What makes chemosynthetic communities so fascinating is their independence. They operate by a different rulebook, one written by chemistry rather than sunlight. They demonstrate that life does not need warmth, brightness, or predictability to succeed. It needs energy, in whatever form it can get it, and the ability to exploit it. Along the continental slope, methane seeps and vents are reminders that Earth is full of loopholes. Whenever a rule seems universal, life finds a way around it. In the dark, under crushing pressure, fueled by leaking gas and ancient reactions, entire ecosystems thrive, quietly proving that the planet never agreed to play by simple rules in the first place. Along the continental slope, life does not rush into parenthood. This is not an environment that rewards impulsive decisions or large families launched on a whim. Here, reproduction is treated like a long-term investment, made after careful budgeting, because resources are limited, conditions are stable but harsh, and mistakes are costly. The result is a collection of life histories that look very different from the rapid boom and bust cycles seen in shallower waters. Many slope species grow slowly, mature late, and reproduce infrequently. This is not a flaw, it is a strategy. When food arrives unpredictably and energy is precious, diverting resources toward constant reproduction would jeopardize survival. Instead, organisms spread their reproductive efforts over long lifespans, increasing the chances that at least some offspring are produced during favorable conditions. Longevity is a key component of this approach. By living longer, individuals gain more opportunities to reproduce across many years or decades. This reduces the pressure to produce large numbers of offspring at once. In effect, time becomes the safety net. Rather than betting everything on one reproductive season, slope species place smaller bets repeatedly, waiting patiently for conditions to align. Reproductive output is often low compared to shallow water relatives. Some species produce fewer eggs or offspring, but invest more energy into each one. These offspring may be larger, better provisioned, or more developmentally advanced at birth or hatching. The goal is not quantity, it is preparedness. When the environment is unforgiving, starting life with extra resources can make the difference between persistence and disappearance. The timing of reproduction can also be flexible. Instead of being tightly linked to seasons or environmental cues like daylight, many slope species reproduce opportunistically. If food availability increases or conditions improve, reproduction may follow. If not, it can be delayed. This flexibility allows organisms to avoid committing energy when the odds are unfavorable. Development itself tends to be slow. Embryos and juveniles grow gradually, often taking longer to reach maturity than similar species in more productive environments. This extended development reduces metabolic demand and aligns growth with the slow pace of resource delivery. Rushing development would require energy that simply is not available. Dispersal strategies reflect similar caution. Some species release larvae that drift with currents, potentially spreading offspring across wide areas. Others keep their young closer, limiting dispersal but increasing the likelihood that offspring remain within suitable habitat. Both approaches have risks and benefits, and along the slope, there is no single correct answer. What matters is consistency over time. Parental care, when present, is often subtle but meaningful. Some organisms protect eggs by attaching them to stable surfaces or brooding them in specialized structures. This reduces exposure to predators and environmental stress, increasing survival rates. However, parental care is energetically expensive, so it is used sparingly and strategically. Slow growth also means slow recovery from disturbance. When individuals take years or decades to reach maturity, populations cannot rebound quickly after losses. This makes slope species particularly vulnerable to sudden changes, whether natural or human-caused. Their life histories are optimized for stability, not rapid replacement. What is striking is how these reproductive strategies mirror the environment itself. The continental slope is not a place of dramatic seasonal swings or frequent abundance. It is steady, quiet, and demanding. Life here reflects that rhythm, favoring endurance over excess, patience over productivity. From an evolutionary perspective, this approach has been remarkably successful. Many slope species persist for long periods with little change, occupying stable niches that reward consistency. They are not trying to dominate or expand rapidly. They are trying to last. There is an almost philosophical quality to this way of life. Reproduction becomes a careful conversation with the environment rather than a declaration of optimism. Growth is measured, deliberate, and respectful of limits. In a world where food delivery is unreliable and energy budgets are tight, raising offspring is a serious commitment, not a casual experiment. Along the continental slope, life teaches a quiet lesson. Success does not always belong to those who produce the most or grow the fastest. Sometimes it belongs to those who wait, conserve, and choose their moments carefully, trusting that patience, over enough time, is its own form of abundance. Along the continental slope, evolution has taken one look at the darkness and said, "Fine, we will work around it." Body shapes here are not designed for beauty, speed, or symmetry. They are designed for function in a world where visibility is poor, encounters are rare, and missing a meal can have long-term consequences. The result is an assortment of forms that look strange to human eyes, but make perfect sense in context. One of the most common adaptations is the oversized mouth. Many slope-dwelling animals possess mouths that seem disproportionately large compared to their bodies. This is not because they are ambitious eaters. It is because opportunities are unpredictable. When food appears, it may be the only chance for days or weeks. A large mouth allows an animal to capture and consume prey of varying sizes without hesitation. In the deep sea, turning down a meal because it is too big is not a luxury anyone can afford. Expandable jaws and flexible stomachs often accompany these large mouths. Some animals can swallow prey nearly as large as themselves, stretching tissues that would be rigid in other environments. This ability transforms rare encounters into significant energy gains. Think of it as taking advantage of bulk deals when the store only opens once a month. Sensory adaptations are equally dramatic. With vision limited or unreliable, many organisms invest heavily in alternative senses. Elongated feelers, whisker-like structures, and extended appendages increase the area over which animals can detect their surroundings. These structures are packed with sensory cells capable of detecting minute changes in water movement, chemical composition, or physical contact. The lateral line system, common in fish, becomes especially important. This network of sensory organs detects vibrations and pressure waves, effectively allowing animals to feel movement around them. It provides a three-dimensional map of nearby activity without relying on sight. In darkness, this sense becomes the primary way to locate prey, avoid obstacles, and detect threats. Chemical sensing is another cornerstone of survival. Many slope organisms can detect extremely low concentrations of chemical cues, allowing them to track food or conspecifics over distance. This ability turns the water into an information-rich medium where trails of scent reveal recent activity. Following these trails requires patience and precision, but it often leads to rewards. Body shapes also reflect the need to maximize encounters with food. Some animals have flattened forms that allow them to stay close to the seafloor, where organic material accumulates. Others have elongated bodies that drift just above the sediment, covering more area with minimal effort. Every shape is a compromise between energy use, sensory reach, and feeding efficiency. Transparency and reduced pigmentation are common, but not universal. In darkness, color has limited function, and producing pigments requires energy. Many organisms opt for pale or translucent bodies, reducing metabolic costs and making them less visible to predators that rely on detecting contrast. Invisibility becomes a form of armor. Some species take sensory specialization to an extreme. Certain invertebrates develop long, thread-like extensions that trail behind them, acting as early warning systems. Others possess highly sensitive appendages that can distinguish between edible and inedible particles upon contact. These adaptations reduce the risk of wasting time on unsuitable food. The phrase vacuuming dinner is not far from the truth. Many slope animals feed by ingesting sediment, water, or detritus, and then sorting out usable material internally. This strategy relies on volume rather than selectivity. When you cannot see what you are eating, the safest approach is to take in everything and let your digestive system decide what to keep. These body plans may look inefficient or excessive by surface standards, but they are finely tuned to the realities of the slope. Each extra sensor, each flexible joint, and each exaggerated feature represents an investment that has paid off over evolutionary time. What is especially fascinating is how these adaptations often converge across unrelated groups. Fish, invertebrates, and other organisms independently arrive at similar solutions to the same problems. Darkness, scarcity, and uncertainty shape life in predictable ways, even when starting from very different biological blueprints. In the end, the strange shapes of slope-dwelling organisms are not oddities. They are answers. Answers to the question of how to survive when you cannot see, cannot chase, and cannot afford to miss. In a world where dinner does not announce itself, being able to sense, engulf, and process whatever drifts your way is not just clever, it is essential. Predator-prey relationships along the continental slope do not look like the dramatic chases familiar from surface oceans. There are no long pursuits, no high-speed collisions, and very little unnecessary motion. This is a place where calories are hard-earned and easily lost, so every interaction between hunter and hunted is shaped by efficiency. Success belongs to the animal that spends the least energy for the greatest reward. Stealth is the dominant currency. Predators rely on remaining unnoticed until the final moment, while prey depend on detecting subtle cues before it is too late. Movement is slow, deliberate, and often minimal. Stillness is not inactivity. It is preparation. Ambush predation thrives here because it aligns perfectly with the energy constraints of the slope. Predators position themselves in areas where prey are likely to pass, then wait. The waiting may last hours or days, but the payoff, when it comes, justifies the patience. A single successful ambush can provide enough energy to last for extended periods. Camouflage plays a central role in these interactions. Many animals blend into the seafloor through coloration, texture, or body shape. Some mimic sediment, others resemble rocks or debris. In low light, even small differences in contrast can be the difference between detection and invisibility. For predators, effective camouflage means prey never realizes it was being watched. For prey, camouflage buys time and reduces the likelihood of being singled out. Prey species adopt their own energy-saving strategies instead of fleeing at the first sign of danger, which would be exhausting and unsustainable. Many rely on immobility or slow, cautious movement. By minimizing disturbance, they reduce the chance of triggering a predator's sensory systems. Panic is expensive, calm is efficient. When escape is necessary, it is usually brief and targeted. Sudden movements are used sparingly, reserved for moments when stealth has failed. This reduces the overall energy cost of predator avoidance while still allowing for last-second survival tactics. In this environment, running away all the time is not bravery. It is a bad budget plan. Predators, in turn, have evolved to recognize these patterns. They are attuned to small movements, vibrations, or chemical signals that betray prey presence. The ability to interpret limited information accurately is critical. Misreading a signal could result in a wasted attack, and wasted attacks are costly. Feeding interactions often involve close-range encounters rather than long-distance pursuits. This increases the importance of precision. Predators must strike accurately and decisively, as second chances are not guaranteed. Many have specialized structures or behaviors that maximize capture success in a single attempt. The outcome of these interactions influences population dynamics along the slope. Predators regulate prey numbers, preventing overexploitation of limited resources. Prey availability, in turn, affects predator distribution and behavior. This balance maintains ecosystem stability in a place where fluctuations could have long-lasting consequences. Interestingly, predator-prey roles are not always rigid. Some species shift between being predators, scavengers, or opportunistic feeders depending on circumstances. This flexibility allows them to take advantage of whatever energy sources are available, blurring traditional ecological categories. Labels matter less than outcomes. The lack of constant predation pressure also shapes behavior. Because encounters are relatively infrequent, prey species may prioritize energy conservation over vigilance. Predators, knowing this, exploit moments of inattention. It is a quiet game of probabilities rather than a constant arms race. There is a certain elegance to these interactions. They are not chaotic or violent in the way surface predation can be. They are measured, restrained, and deeply informed by the realities of the environment. Every movement has intent. Every decision carries weight. In the end, predator-prey relationships along the continental slope reflect a shared understanding of limits. Both sides operate under the same constraints, bound by the same scarcity. The winners are not those who move fastest, but those who move smartest, conserving energy until the exact moment when it matters most. In a place where cardio is optional, but efficiency is mandatory, stealth becomes survival. The continental slope is often described as a boundary, but in practice, it functions more like a corridor. It connects two very different realms of the ocean, the sunlit shallows above and the dark abyss below, allowing life, energy, and genetic material to move between them. While it may not get the attention given to coral reefs or deep trenches, the slope plays a crucial role as a biological bridge, quietly linking ecosystems that would otherwise remain isolated. Many species use the slope as transitional habitat, occupying different depths at different stages of their lives. Some begin life in shallower waters, then migrate downslope as they grow, following changes in temperature, pressure, or food availability that better suit their size and needs. Others do the reverse, spawning in deeper waters and allowing early life stages to drift upward. This vertical movement connects ecosystems that appear separate on the surface, but are biologically intertwined. The slope also facilitates the gradual shift in species composition with depth. Instead of an abrupt change from shallow to deep communities, the slope provides a gradient where organisms with overlapping tolerances coexist. This overlap allows for interaction, competition, and exchange, smoothing the transition between ecosystems. Without this gradient, the ocean would be a series of isolated layers rather than an integrated whole. From a genetic perspective, the slope is especially important. It allows populations to remain connected across depth ranges, reducing isolation and promoting genetic diversity. Individuals that move along the slope can introduce new genetic material into populations at different depths, increasing resilience to environmental change. In evolutionary terms, this connectivity is invaluable. It prevents stagnation and encourages adaptability. The slope also acts as a pathway for energy transfer. Organic material produced in shallow waters does not simply drop straight down. It moves along the slope, intercepted, redistributed, and consumed at various depths. In this way, the slope moderates the flow of resources, ensuring that energy is shared across multiple ecosystems, rather than concentrated in one place. It is less a waterfall and more a winding river, spreading nourishment as it goes. Predators and scavengers also use the slope as a hunting ground that connects different food sources. Some species patrol across depth zones, taking advantage of the diverse prey available along the gradient. This movement helps regulate populations across multiple ecosystems, linking their dynamics. A change in one zone can ripple along the slope, influencing others in subtle but meaningful ways. The physical structure of the slope contributes to its role as a bridge. Its varied terrain offers a wide range of microhabitats, from rocky outcrops to sediment-covered terraces. These habitats provide stepping stones for species moving between depths, offering shelter and feeding opportunities along the way. Without these intermediate habitats, many organisms would struggle to traverse the sharp environmental differences between shallow and deep waters. Environmental change highlights the importance of this connectivity. As conditions shift, whether through natural cycles or human influence, species may need to adjust their depth ranges to survive. The slope provides the space and continuity needed for these adjustments. It allows organisms to track favorable conditions over time, rather than facing sudden, impassable boundaries. Despite its importance, the slope often goes unnoticed. It lacks the dramatic visuals of reefs or the mystique of the deepest trenches. Its role is subtle, cumulative, and easy to overlook. Yet without it, the ocean would be far less integrated. Ecosystems would become fragmented, and the flow of life between them would be severely limited. In many ways, the continental slope functions like a highway system. It does not create the destinations, but it enables movement between them. It supports traffic, exchange, and connection without demanding attention. Most of the time, it simply works. Recognizing the slope as a biodiversity bridge changes how we view the ocean. It reminds us that ecosystems are not isolated patches, but parts of a larger, connected network. The health of one zone depends on the pathways that link it to others. Along the continental slope, those pathways run quietly, steadily, and continuously, ensuring that life in the ocean remains a shared endeavor rather than a collection of lonely worlds. For most of Earth's history, the continental slope existed beyond human reach, quietly evolving under the assumption that nothing with opposable thumbs would ever show up. That assumption turned out to be optimistic. Advances in technology have allowed humans to extend their activities deeper into the ocean, and the slope, once protected by depth and difficulty, is now firmly on the map. Unfortunately, this is an ecosystem built for patience, colliding with a species famous for having none. Deep-sea fishing is one of the most significant human impacts on slope environments. As coastal fish stocks declined, fishing operations moved deeper, targeting species that live along the slope. These fish are often long-lived, slow-growing, and late to mature, traits that make them particularly vulnerable to overexploitation. When removed faster than they can replace themselves, populations decline rapidly, sometimes with no obvious signs until it is too late. The methods used are often blunt. Bottom trawling, for example, involves dragging heavy nets and gear across the seafloor. On the continental slope, this does not just catch fish. It physically disturbs the habitat, flattening structures that took centuries to form. Complex communities can be reduced to bare sediment in a single pass. From the ecosystem's perspective, it is less fishing and more demolition. Recovery from this kind of disturbance is painfully slow. Many slope organisms grow at glacial rates, reproduce infrequently, and rely on stable conditions. When their habitat is destroyed, recolonization can take decades or longer, assuming it happens at all. The system is not designed to bounce back quickly. It is designed to persist quietly under consistent conditions. Mining poses a different but equally serious threat. Interest in extracting minerals from the deep sea has increased, driven by demand for metals used in modern technology. Portions of the continental slope contain valuable deposits, making them attractive targets. Mining operations would involve removing or disturbing large areas of seafloor, generating sediment plumes that spread far beyond the immediate site. These plumes can smother nearby organisms, clog feeding structures, and alter chemical conditions. Because currents along the slope can carry material sideways, the impact area may be much larger than anticipated. Effects ripple outward, affecting communities that were never directly mined. One of the greatest challenges in assessing human impact on the slope is our limited understanding of baseline conditions. Many species are poorly studied, and some have only been observed a handful of times. When changes occur, it can be difficult to determine what has been lost. You cannot measure recovery if you never knew what was there to begin with. The mismatch in timescales is stark. Human industries operate on years or decades. Slope ecosystems operate on centuries. Decisions made quickly can have consequences that outlast the institutions that made them. A trawl today may erase a community that began forming before modern civilization existed. There is also the issue of cumulative impact. A single fishing event or mining operation might not seem catastrophic in isolation, but repeated disturbances add up. Gradually, complexity erodes, species disappear quietly, ecosystems simplify, becoming shadows of their former selves. The changes are subtle enough to escape immediate notice, but profound enough to alter function permanently. Importantly, many slope species are not resilient to repeated stress. Their life histories are optimized for stability, not disturbance. When conditions change too quickly, they have few options. They cannot migrate easily, adapt rapidly, or rebound through rapid reproduction. They endure until they cannot. None of this is inevitable. Management strategies, protected areas, and precautionary approaches can reduce harm if implemented thoughtfully. But these require recognizing the slope as more than empty space. It is a living system with limits, shaped by time and patience rather than speed and extraction. The continental slope does not respond well to urgency. It does not reward efficiency measured in tons per hour. It asks for restraint, foresight, and respect for processes that move slowly but matter deeply. When humans arrive with nets and machines, they bring a tempo the slope was never built to handle. The challenge moving forward is not whether we can reach these depths. We already can. The question is whether we can slow down enough to avoid breaking ecosystems that have survived millions of years precisely because nothing ever rushed them before. The continental slope does not announce itself. It does not sparkle with sunlight or rise dramatically above the waves. It simply descends, quietly and steadily, carrying the ocean from the familiar into the unknown. Yet this unassuming stretch of seafloor plays an outsized role in the health and complexity of the ocean as a whole. When we take the time to notice it, the slope reveals something profound about how life works and why it persists. Everything about the continental slope speaks to connection. It links shallow and deep environments, moves energy and nutrients, and provides pathways for organisms to adapt, migrate, and survive. It is not a background feature. It is a structural backbone that helps hold the ocean together. Without it, the ocean would be fragmented, less resilient, and far more vulnerable to change. The communities that live along the slope show us that success does not require comfort or abundance. These organisms thrive under constant pressure, limited food, and near total darkness. They do so not through speed or strength, but through efficiency, patience, and clever use of available resources. In this way, the slope becomes a masterclass in adaptation, demonstrating that life does not wait for ideal conditions. It makes do with what it has. The slope also reminds us that visibility is not the same as importance. Much of what happens here occurs out of sight, beyond the reach of casual observation. Yet these hidden processes influence the broader ocean in ways that are essential and ongoing. Energy flows are moderated, populations are regulated, and biological diversity is maintained, all without fanfare. There is a tendency to value ecosystems based on how easily we can access or understand them. The continental slope challenges that mindset. Its significance lies not in spectacle, but in function. It works continuously, quietly supporting systems that extend far beyond its boundaries. Ignoring it because it is hard to see would be like ignoring the foundation of a building because it is underground. The organisms of the slope also offer perspective. Their lives unfold on timescales that stretch human imagination. Growth is slow, change is gradual, and stability is prized. In a world increasingly defined by speed and immediacy, this ecosystem operates under a different set of rules. It reminds us that not all success is fast, and not all resilience is loud. Understanding the continental slope deepens our appreciation for the ocean's complexity. It reveals how environments are layered, connected, and interdependent. It shows that boundaries are rarely sharp, and that life often thrives in the transitions. The slope is a place of gradients rather than extremes, and it is in those gradients that diversity flourishes. There is also a quiet optimism embedded in the slope's story. Despite extreme conditions, life persists. Despite scarcity, ecosystems function. Despite darkness, complexity thrives. This does not mean the slope is invulnerable, but it does highlight the extraordinary capacity of life to adapt when given time and stability. As we reflect on the continental slope, it becomes clear that its value extends beyond biology. It challenges our assumptions about where life can exist and what it needs to succeed. It encourages humility, reminding us that much of the planet operates beyond our immediate awareness, following rules shaped by millions of years rather than human schedules. In the end, the continental slope is not just a feature of the seafloor. It is a reminder that life's reach is expansive, creative, and persistent. Even on a steep underwater cliff, wrapped in pressure and darkness, life finds a way to build communities, maintain balance, and quietly support the world above. So the next time you imagine the ocean, think beyond the surface and the shoreline. Think of the long descent, the hidden neighborhoods, and the ecosystems that ask for nothing more than time. The continental slope may never seek attention, but it deserves it, because it shows us something fundamental about the planet we live on. Life does not just survive in the light. It thrives wherever it can hold on, even on a cliff in eternal darkness.